Rolling.
All right, hey everybody, Steve Burns here from the San Diego Photoshop Users Group here at Adobe Max, and I'm actually here inside the Microsoft booth. I'm going to do a little bit of review of the new Microsoft Surface Pro, and so far it's a very interesting product. I'm also here with
Michael Schroeder.
Michael Schroeder, okay, the Microsoft rep, and I'm going to ask some questions as I'm reviewing this. Now, I'm working in Photoshop. You can see the surface here. It's a beautiful transition in terms of the ease and operation of your monitor. I love the concept that the monitor is very, very thin, very sleek, very elegant. It's just like it's designed for architects and designers and artists. I love this. Now, right down here, I believe it's the computer.
That's the
Okay,
computer, yeah.
so this is the computer, and in addition, the Surface has touch capabilities. As you can see here, I'm pinching and pulling in and out. If I press down, I should have my rotation features. And of course, we do have touch capabilities all programmed inside of Photoshop. And I want to kind of give you more of my first impression. And if I have questions in terms of functionality, I'm going to ask Michael here to give us a little more insight into the Surface Pro. All right, so the size of this is how large?
28-inch diagonal screen.
Okay, you got 28-inch diagonal from corner to corner.
It's more than 4K resolution,
Okay.
so you really can't see the pixels. So it's really very 192 DPI, so really sharp.
Okay, excellent. And if you were here, it's a very, very sharp screen. Now, let's share with some of the functionality here. I have the stylus here, and I know one of the questions that my users are going to want to know is, what is the level of pressure sensitivity here?
1024.
Okay, so it's 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity, and I can sense that right away because I'm gonna go over to Photoshop and grab a little brush over here. When I was actually painting with this, I can actually feel that there wasn't a huge amount of pressure sensitivity, but it's there for those of you guys who really enjoy that. I can go into Photoshop and I'm going to customize the Photoshop interface to utilize their pressure. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to target a particular brush. Let's go ahead and drop it down. I'm going to grab a standard brush, as you can see here. Under my transfer, I'm going to target that there. I'm going to make sure pen pressure is targeted for both opacity and flow, which, as we all know, we will override the opacity and flow right up here on your bar. So now if I come on over and start to paint, I'm going to go make my brush larger. So I'm hitting the bracket keys on the keyboard. Now, a lot of us members are using other products in terms of a stylus. So to kind of give you an idea of what this does, I'm pressing down a little harder, and a little bit harder. We've got pressure sensitivity in here. Not as much as a lot of our members are probably used to, but it's there. Now, one thing I've noticed about the pen that there are no buttons on here, which as artists we do.
There is a button.
There's a button
The
there.
button. Well, it's actually right here.
Okay, then I stand corrected.
So as I press the button down,
Yeah.
I'll see the brush effects, and also
All right.
we have an eraser. So depending on the tool
Great.
you're using, we'll have an eraser. So,
Okay,
so
excellent.
it feels very natural in that way once you
Now-
know that there's a button.
Now the question is the button, is this flat surface here?
Yeah.
All right, and is it only a one command button, or do you have more than one?
It depends on the context. It depends on the application. So Photoshop will, depending on the tool that you're using,
Right.
it may have a different functionality depending on what you press the button.
Okay, great. So it's customizable, the button. Okay, excellent. That's what I need to know. So okay, there you have it. So we have a one button, that's that flat surface. So I'm assuming that's going to probably change because for those of us who use 3D, we need 3 buttons for various functions. That will be
Yeah, I've heard that from 3D
Right.
from 3D creators. Yeah.
all right. So that will be handy. Now we have another little feature here. What do you call
It's
this?
called the Surface Dial, and this
Okay.
goes with the Surface Studio. It all exports with the other Surface devices. But the idea is that it is a new interface device that allows you to do radial input. And so, for example, if I hold my finger down on here, actually we'll see it here, I'll see that there are some options that sort of come around. The first one here is undo. The next one is zoom in, that's scroll, and then there's audio. So, for example, if I want to do the undo, now as I dial this back and forth, actually will undo.
Very cool.
There we go. Undo and redo are back and forth on there. So the operations that you did with your Photoshop file, you now have a tool, and this can be on or off the screen. And we're working with other app developers like Adobe and other app developers to customize this to the actual application, so that you start to think, and this is where the Photoshop user group gets that input directly to Adobe to say, we want the dial to be, I want to modulate my pen tilt, or I want the dial to modulate my pen width, or I want the dial to modulate my color. All these different things you use sliders before now, you can now use the dial.
So my question is, the dial, is it customizable?
Yes, it is.
It is.
So you can actually have it hook up to certain hotkeys. That's all in the new wheel Windows, a new setting in Windows 10 called Wheel, where you can implement different limited set of hotkeys.
Okay, now the next question: how do we customize it? Show us.
So if I go in here if I just type wheel and I go to the wheel settings, I'll see in Windows we have a number of shortcuts that I can set up. So if I know the shortcuts in Photoshop that I want to use, I can set it up to be like Control J or whatever that is. But we do have some sort of default behaviors that we can have to this default wheel. Now, once Adobe starts adding wheel functionality explicitly into their applications, then they can do some more interesting things. And I'll just take you out of Photoshop for a moment. And so just be an example of an application called Sketchable. And Sketchable is a natural media drawing application where I can use this to do things like, so what they've implemented, which is really kind of fun, is that this is now modifying the hue of my brush as I'm drawing that. And I'm just turning this as a wheel, like a dial, like an old school.
And are you selecting color this way?
So look, you see this little, if you look here, you see right now, I'm modifying the saturation.
Right.
And if I tap it another time, I'm modifying the brightness. But right here, now I'm on the hue. So if I draw here, it'll be blue. And if I draw here, it'll be green. And just by modifying this, I can modify all sorts of things. I hold this down, I can now modify aspects of navigation.
Very cool.
I can tap it again, it'd be rotating. Now I'm zooming in. And if I hold it down again, I'll see I can do RGB, or even I can then start modifying that brush.
Very cool.
So here, for example, it's modifying the brush size. So as I draw, instead of picking up the size from the pressure sensitivity, I'm actually picking it up from the wheel.
Very good.
From the dial. So these are the kind of things that my team is working with the different teams at Adobe to figure out the right way. And that Adobe is incredibly responsive to their user feedback. So when you have the San Diego Photoshop user group saying, we'd love this the surface style to modulate this kind of aspect of Adobe of Photoshop, that's the feedback that they want to hear right now.
All right. Anything else we should know about this?
So this is the Surface Studio. You can pre-order them now, starting at $3,000. We have Intel Core i5 and i7 with different 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte storage. It's a really fabulous machine. I love to draw, and this is a really responsive device to drawing. It's running Windows 10, and come to a Microsoft store to give it a try.
All right, so there you have it. I hope that was very helpful for everybody. Impressive product. If you get a chance to go in one of the Microsoft stores, go check it out. And this is Stephen Burns signing off, San Diego Photoshop Users Group.